Good morning, guys. This is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. I don't know if it's morning, noon, night. I don't know, guys. I had an amazing cheese and bacon burger for breakfast with some slaw that somebody sent me from Tennessee. And I loved it. I loved it with a little bit of onion, lettuce and tomato, sesame seed bun, and I ate Burger King. Guys, Amy Bradley, 1998, disappeared off a cruise ship. She was 23, and Netflix has a documentary. Amy Bradley is missing. That's gone nuts, and so have the content creators. A lot of YouTubers, true crime, have stepped in and said, what happened to Amy Bradley? Gee, what happened with Amy Bradley? And I did a couple of videos about Amy, and there's been speculation that I want to share with you. But did you hear Kim Kardashian is very interested in the whereabouts of Amy Bradley?
Khloe Kardashian are now getting involved in a search for Amy Bradley.
Oh my God. Did they find her?
They haven't yet.
It just started.
So basically, Kim Kardashian was watching the special. She posted it on her Insta story, and then she got in contact with Amy Bradley's family. She was talking to Amy Bradley's mom for an hour last Thursday, according to TMZ. And she says that, or they believe that there is something there. Specifically, Kim Kardashian is interested in this like IP address from Barbados that keeps checking the Amy Bradley is missing website.
That's pretty amazing to me that Kim Kardashian out of everybody. So last I thought, I heard Kim was interested in prison reform, right? She had kind of connected with Gypsy for a minute, and that was bad news because that's like fungus. But I could see, put some money where your mouth is. Let's find out. Is Amy Bradley Jazz? Now, who's Jazz? Guys, there's speculation, and the most popular, we'll say the most popular opinion of what happened with Amy Bradley is that she was ex-trafficked. Now, there was a woman named Jazz who looks an awful lot like Amy, and the FBI has done analysis to say that this is probably Amy. There's a show, Crime Weekly, with Stephanie and with Derrick. And Derrick's a retired investigator or homicide detective and a private investigator. He says that's not Amy because of tattoos. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know about the one on the ankle, but I'm not convinced about the one on the shoulder could be seen in any way in any of the pictures that Derrick shows us. So those that don't know, and those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, except Kim Kardashian, which I'm sure you would know. Okay, Amy Bradley was 23 years old when she disappeared on a Royal Caribbean cruise that she went on with her parents and her younger brother, Brad. The last time she was seen, supposedly, was out on the balcony of her cabin on the ship. Okay, where some people have speculated she'd fallen over. No, I disagree with that. Amy didn't like being close to the edge. So looking over wouldn't be something she did. As a matter of fact, her family said, no, she didn't. And she wouldn't have been that messed up or anything that would make her, or like Derrick from Crime Weekly seems to think maybe she got sick and wanted to throw up somewhere else, not in the room that her parents were in, which she shared with her brother. One cabin. 2 beds, so nothing weird going on there, right? I forget the age difference between the brother, Brad, and his sister, Amy. Amy was 23. So they were basically sharing that couch that opened up into a twin-size bed, and the parents were sleeping in the bed. They came into they came with the room. But it seemed like Amy wasn't feeling so great. So I don't know if Amy was maybe drugged before she came into the room, speculation. And while she was there, she started feeling, and of course the fresh air makes you feel better. When you are seasick, the worst thing is to go inside. The best thing is to be outside in the fresh air. And if you could look onto the horizon. But that doesn't mean that she got even close enough to fall over. I don't believe that for a second. I think that I know exactly how Amy felt about the side because I feel the same way. I'm not afraid of water. I'm really not afraid of heights per se. It's just looking down that makes me shaky. So that's what I think with Amy. But I do think they weren't out together. They came back 15 minutes apart. So Brad came into the room 15 minutes before his sister. It was about 3:15 or so. She came in around 3:30, 3:40, something like that. And by 5 o'clock, 5:30, she was gone. Now, Brad had come into the cabin and her dad had woken up. Their dad had woken up at some point and seen Amy out on the cabin. He'd seen her feet out on the balcony and figured, we're going to get up in a few hours. I'll just leave her alone. I think that it's possible that she was DRUGGED and then went to the room, and then when everybody was asleep, maybe somebody went and kind of got her and brought her out of the room. Because later, supposedly, she was seen about 5:30 with a man named Yellow. And Yellow is somebody who has been scrutinized, and I don't think he's been cleared of where is Amy Bradley. I think that Amy was DRUGGED'd and taken. And I think those pictures are of Amy Bradley today, or whenever those pictures were taken. And I think Amy does not speak up and say anything because she has a whole family, children, that she has given birth to that could very much be part of this ex-trafficking ring now. Guys, don't come and beat me up. This is speculation. This, to me, is the only reason why Amy wouldn't try. If she's still around, if she's involved in ex-trafficking or was involved in it, which I believe she was, the only thing that would keep her quiet would be if she did give birth and if she's trying to protect her other family, which would be children that she very well could have had. And this is how they keep these women, by them giving birth and then by them using the children to control them. I don't think that that's out of the question. And so I've talked about that on my videos. But I want to go over a little bit of what Derrick and Stephanie are talking about and how they heard. They actually heard from somebody from Netflix network. The director, I believe it was, from Netflix, who had some questions for them. So that was pretty interesting too. Let's check it out.
Tell us about the whole,
Yeah, so...
Tell us about what happened. What message did you get? Yeah.
So this series has been doing really well. And the feedback has been incredible. Who were finding the podcast who wouldn't necessarily find it before. And one of them was the directors of the Netflix series Amy Bradley is Missing, the one that's viral right now, that has almost 800 million downloads on Netflix, right? So Phil himself DM'd us. He reached out and he, said that he'd listened to the podcast and we did an incredible job and we're super talented and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, where's this going? And then he says, you guys said in the episode that Yellow mentioned being woken up in the morning around 6 a.m. on the morning that Amy was reported missing. Do you guys have a source for this? Because we never found that anywhere. Because obviously if this is true, it would be a real game changer. And we keep our receipts. So we had a CNN article as our source where Yellow had said this.
So now Yellow was a band member on the cruise ship who seemed to fancy Amy. Amy, we know, wasn't really interested in him because Amy had a girlfriend. Amy was a gay woman. Though they were friendly and stuff, it is believed, perhaps, a speculation, that Yellow, DRUGGED'd Amy, took her off the ship and has ex-trafficked her and is part of an ex-trafficking ring. He has taken polygraphs, which they didn't show that he took Amy, and it didn't show that he didn't take Amy. They're inconclusive. So what's going on here is Brad, Amy's brother, remembers. He remembers that Yellow had said that he was sorry to hear about his sister, Amy, before anybody knew. When by the time that Brad realized, wait a minute, how did he know anything about my sister being missing when there was no announcement about my sister being missing? Now, what they're saying, what Derrick is saying, is that, yeah, that's what we have the receipts that show that. But what we don't know, and what the director of Netflix is saying, what we don't know is that Amy's parents could have gone to the cruise ship and said, hey, listen, my daughter's missing, and the last time we saw her was with your guy, Yellow. And they could have gone without sharing any information to Amy's family and gone to Yellow's cabin and said, hey, man, is there a girl here? Is there that girl Amy here? And that's how Yellow could have known. So they're giving credence to that, something that they didn't think about. And that's a big deal because that would explain how he would know something before an announcement. But we don't know if that's true or not.
I also elaborated by saying, hey, just a heads up. The photo you showed of Amy Bradley, or what was supposed to be Amy Bradley, I don't believe is her. And there's other photos, and I explained kind of what I explained to you guys in the last episode, and I said,
Now, again, Derrick is not under the belief that that's Amy Bradley because of the tattoos. Again, I don't know anything about a tattoo on the ankle, but the tattoo on the shoulder, I don't think that any one picture is clear to show if that tattoo is there or not. But the FBI has done some elaborate tests, and they claim that things that don't change, like a widow's peak or the distance between the eyes, and certain things just don't change. And according to certain tests, they're saying that that's Amy Bradley.
we were told by the FBI they studied the photos carefully, and each on just happens to not line up in a way that could possibly give them a clear line of sight to the tattoos. So this is what he's talking about, what I elaborated on. Now, I showed you guys the photos. We'll put them up here again, whether it's the right side of her body or left side of her body. I strongly disagree with that assessment. You can clearly see her ankle. You can clearly see her shoulder. In my professional opinion, I don't agree with the FBI analysis. You can clearly see all of her shoulder and her leg in one photo, and whether it represents the left or right side of her body, there are no tattoos. But I respect the fact that they may have access to something that I don't.
But again, there's pictures, but again, there's work that they did and tests that they did that clearly show the face that it's Amy. So are they any closer to knowing? And what about the sightings that they saw later? Guys, this is Issues with Toddy One Skip. I am Toddy One Skip. What do you think? Do you think Amy's around? Do you think she's being X-trafficked? What do you think, guys? Tell me. Be better today than you were yesterday, not half as good as you'll be tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you.